Town Council. There's just three of us tonight, so maybe this meeting will move along quickly. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask General Valenti to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda is the public comment period. We had one person who was going to speak but withdrew. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Please come forward and state your name and give us what you want to say.
Hi, Jenny Flanagan, 46 Washington Street. I think it was last year the council passed an ordinance about bikes on sidewalks. And it's hard for people to know that that's, an ordinance here in town. I was wondering whether stencils could be painted on the street, particularly on Water Street where it's really a problem, for cars to see, to share the road. And then on the sidewalk entrances at major streets that say sidewalks on the street, not on the sidewalk, just stencils or something like that.
Well, definitely we can have our advice
Yeah.
to look into
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Okay,
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, moving along. The first, we have a presentation for the Warren Preservation Society. Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have a small group this evening. Hi. Yeah, we're here to present the Town of Warren a check from the Warren Preservation Society. And we're very thankful to some business owners in town, individuals, our membership, the Maxwell House Historical Association, and also Save Water Street. And we're very grateful that people stepped forward, they responded. We're very happy that we didn't just go ahead with the demolition of the chimney. And I'm hoping going forward that we can try to take it off and take things in small bites to restore the town hall. And I know our building official was very interested in that in the beginning when we talked about this. And part of his desire to do this discovered the problems we had with the chimneys and the leaks. So anyway, that's pretty much where we are, and we're happy to donate this money. And like I said, I hope moving forward that we can kind of stay ahead of this and take it off in small bites. And thank you to the town manager for finding out that some of the ARPA funds were available. I think that pretty much saved us, but anyway, it's an effort of the commitment to preservation in Warren. So
It's a check for $23,000.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And there's a list of the donors.
We'll give that to the clerk. Is that to the clerk?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda would be the interviews. First, we have the Budget Committee. We have two positions available. We have one applicant, and it's Sheila Reposa. Is Sheila here? Please come forward.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Sheila Reposa. I live at 14 Cottage Street, have lived in town for 32 years. I'm interested in working with the Budget Committee. As a financial services professional, I've been involved in a budget process, the full life cycle, from preparing budgets to reporting on budgets. I think it's very important when you publish financial statements and financial results that in addition to the numbers that you're looking at, you also have some kind of narrative to explain the variances, whether they're positive or negative. And I think it's a way to educate those that may not be familiar with how the budget process works. So I think that I can add value and would like to participate in the Budget Committee. what questions do
Is
you
there
have for me?
any questions from, and Sheila does serve on our joint finance committee currently.
I have no questions, just
And
compliments.
She serves on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board. I serve with her and I can speak highly of her work.
And there's no
Great.
conflicts beyond each board.
Yep.
And
Okay.
again, just compliments for your resume and your desire to step forward. Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have an opening on the Conservation Commission. We have one position available and we have an applicant. It's Kristen Nancy Reed, 40 Cherry Street. Please come forward.
Kristen's been
Oh, that's right.
interviewed for.
Yep. Remember, she's not gonna make it.
Right.
We've interviewed her before. I
Other
think she's
boards.
already on one of our boards already.
Correct.
it's on the Affordable.
And our
Housing
as director, so motion to approve.
Motion.
Kristen Reed.
Do we have a second?
Trust. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have Economic Development Board. We have one position available, but no applicants. Juvenile Hearing Board. One alternate position available and no applicants. We still have 4 positions available for the Rhode Island 250th Commission. The Voluntary Historic District Committee. We have one alternate position available. We have 2 applicants. The first applicant is Scott Lyle. Scott, please come down.
Evening.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Good
How are we
evening.
doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just give us a little rundown on your interest on the Voluntary District Committee, the Voluntary Historic Committee?
The girls have gotten older. Some time is freed up. I have a vested interest in the historic district, historic fabric of the town. It's always been important to me. I live in it and I have for 20 years. And I thought I'd put my name in for this commission. That being said, having served in your seat, I've seen young people come forth before infrequently. And I would not want to deter anybody from their interest in a position. So I'm here at the pleasure of the council.
Okay, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I know Mr. Lyle well from serving with him on council and he's, more than qualified. He's got a house in the district and, very nice house, very well taken care of. He knows about preservation, so. I
Okay.
could see him on that board, on that commission.
Any questions?
No, I'm not going to repeat everything that was said.
Okay, yep.
I'd like to listen to the other applicant and
All
make
right.
that choice.
So I will call up the other applicant.
Please.
The second applicant is, thank you, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
Second applicant is Noah Vasquez, 23 Green Street. Is Noah here? Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Noah Vasquez. I'm actually from Montclair, New Jersey, but I've been living here for the past 2 years. And was a student at Roger Williams University. I just graduated, got my master's in architecture. I took historical preservation classes and stuff. So I was just curious if I could apply for this opportunity.
Questions from the council?
So Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
What's your current position or what are you working on now?
Currently, I'm unemployed. I don't have any job right now.
And have you served on a board prior to this?
None.
Any questions?
No,
Mhm. I mean, I'm willing to answer any questions, but
I don't have any questions to dig deeper than
No.
what Mr. Vasquez has supplied is
Yep.
pretty good for me.
Yep, I see the resume here. All right, Noah, thank you very much.
Thank
all
you.
right.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I think, based on Mr. Lyle's experience, I would appoint Mr. Lyle to the Historic District.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you to both applicants. Okay, next we have the Warren Arts and Cultural Commission. We do not have any applicants, but we do have a position available. Anybody out there that has some time and would like to help us in the town of Warren. These boards and commissions, they're all important. Please come on down, see if you can get on them. If you have a special talent that will fit one of these boards, that would be great. But we need help. These boards and commissions are great tools for the town, and we can't just do it all ourselves. So if you're out there in TV land or in the audience and you heard a position that you might be interested in, please apply for it. Thank you. Okay, next we have the acceptance of minutes. We have the in person live stream Tuesday, where's the date on this? Oh, Tuesday, the 11th. Yep.
Motion to approve June 11th, regular scheduled meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve June 17th, special scheduled meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
And motion to approve the 26th, special scheduled meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next we have the consent agenda. We have P1, P2, P3, and P4. Is there anything anyone would like to pull off the consent agenda, or can I have a motion to pass the consent?
Motion to approve all items on the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next we have ordinance 01. This has to do with finance and taxation. This is the second reading. And this is basically setting up the parameters of the budget committee, which we just made an appointment to. We did have, there was a couple of tweaks from was there a couple of tweaks from last month? Okay. So this is as we approved it last month. Is there any comments or changes the council would like to see before we pass the second reading?
I didn't feel anyone needed.
Fine, second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yep, thank you.
Did we, to approve, finance and taxation, Article 1.
So
All in
moved.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Grant made the motion, I made the second.
Next, we have 02. This is streets and sidewalks. This is in regard to the drainage of the runoff. Brian's gonna give us a little bit of an update. I don't think we're really ready to move forward with this at this time, but
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask that we push it till further notice. I'm still working with numerous organizations. So right now, no one in the state of Rhode Island has ever made special districts for it. I reached out to Save the Bay as well as other communities. There's different talks about it. RIDEM will count some pumps as groundwater in certain circumstances. The USGS is actually looking at putting out monitor stations for groundwater to alert towns that groundwater is high, allow some pumps to go. Currently on the permit, it's kind of gray area if it will affect our permit if some pumps are being discharged. Everybody accepts rainwater as acceptable discharges. It's the some pumps that become an issue. As our ordinance is written at the moment, we still have the ability to waive that restriction. So I think we should just kind of keep it as is at the moment and continue to work with other communities. Barrington's also looking at updating their rules. We have virtually the same ordinance as Barrington. So they're also looking to kind of update, and I'm going to be reaching out to them to kind of coordinate how to come to a consensus, because most communities that are around the water have the same ordinance. It's the communities inland that don't have any at all.
Does that give relief on a case-to-case basis, essentially?
It does, yeah. It's, emergency situations, if it's a constant habitual issue, if it's a winter, causing icing conditions, then we'll address it with the homeowners at that time. But, obviously with all the storm water, we're getting 3 to 5 inches of rain at a time. It's understandable that's going to happen, specifically in the Water Street area. There's nowhere else to put it. So, we will have something, and I think we can come up with something. It's just, I think we need more time to kind of play this out. I know Roger Williams is also working on some white papers with the state of Rhode Island on this exact issue, and they've used Warren as an example of our ordinance and how it's being utilized. So
The reason I put this on the agenda, you've been here a few years now. As you know, when we send out mailers, we get a reaction.
Yep.
And that's what we got. And we try not to be reactionary to some things, but when we're sending out that reason for people to have a reaction, it was in our best interest to try to figure out if there were alternative ways, if this was a negative, a positive. how the states were dealing with this, the state officials. So a question for Mr. DeSisto. Is enforcement completely within Warren's regulatory body?
Correct, yeah.
Complete?
This is a Warren ordinance, enforced by.
But before, when I said, why don't we just get rid of it, it then impacts DEM, state.
So
other
our MS4
agencies.
permit it's a gray area with the MS4 permit. We don't know if it'll count against our permit. RIDEM says they're gonna, it's hit or miss how RIDEM feels at that moment. So I have to report it as a illicit discharge, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to count against our permit. Just because by definition, it is an illicit discharge.
All right, so I guess we'll put the faith in the fact that you're not gonna be out there policing this like a hardcore issue.
Right, no, it's like I said,
Ice,
the letters
emergency,
went out.
Safety issues.
Safety issues.
I think it changes safety, that's what.
And I don't have a problem with safety. But
And we
I
have no problem working with each individual homeowner too. That's why I said we're not gonna go out there and come back and bring them straight to court right away. It's just deal with the situation. I mean, like we had a couple emergency situations at night where we get called out for icing conditions. So those are the ones that we really want to mitigate first, obviously.
Right.
Now,
Prevent
Anthony,
accidents.
under the current ordinance, we do have the ability, if it becomes a safety issue, to take action, correct?
Correct, you do.
Okay. So if he said postpone this indefinitely, because it's first reading, would we actually have to set a date, or could we just like table it and bring it up again if we want to?
I'm gonna make, the suggestion. Move to withdraw the ordinance at the request of the DPW director,
Okay.
pending additional information. Then when Brian gets his information, go back on the agenda at the first reading. And you probably have better information at that time.
So a motion to remove the agenda item, chapter
action.
18,
Take no action.
and take no action.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we have 03. This is buildings and building regulations. This was about the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, which we heard about last month. Davison?
Good evening, members of the council.
Evening.
So what you have before you is a very pared down version of what we had put forward. I guess the only question really is, does this prohibit any of the objectives that were outlined in the initial presentation?
It does not, but, the first question I had on a legal standpoint, whether or not it should just be a resolution. Create this advisory committee, or whether or not it should be an ordinance. And I opted for an ordinance, because I would give it
Anthony, the people in the back can't hear you.
for joint names. Get right up there.
Here you go.
So, to repeat myself, the question that I had was whether or not there should be a resolution creating this advisory committee, or whether or not it should be an ordinance. And similar to the one you just approved for the budget board, I opted to go with this as a ordinance, which would be in section 4-158. And this is Davison's correct. This is a bare bones ordinance. And does it impair or limit the ability to do what was stated, what he had last month in what the task were? The answer is no. If you want to put that in the ordinance, that's something you can do. And you can basically pick and choose what type of functions you have. I think this is broad, and it allows the Affordable Housing Committee to advise you on many matters. But if it makes the proponents more comfortable with it, you can certainly add other provisions in.
Yeah, in looking at it, it just seemed a little watered down, and the objectives take up a whole page, which was presented to us. And I mean, again, these objectives are, far reaching, but they're still advisory. So, they wouldn't be falling afoul of anything that we needed to do with that. I think it would be important to give one more teeth to this. It's my opinion.
Right. Do you have any specific recommendations for Anthony if we're gonna rewrite this? Hang on, I'm turning my phone off.
I think what Davison is looking for is to have the full tasks put in that he had, but I'm gonna say something, Davis, you mind flipping back? I think he can dispense with the vision and purpose and principles on it. I'm not so sure that's appropriate for the ordinance. But the objectives, formulate and implement an affordable housing action plan that fits Warren and adheres to the comprehensive plan. Only concern I have with that is that that could be used against the town if something is approved and not approved, and it deviates from the what the plan has, this advisory committee comes up with. You can do it, but there's a little bit of a risk.
I don't want.
What's the harm with going with what you recommended? They can still meet all those objectives.
They can, but I think that in speaking with the Davison, I don't want to put words in his mouth. They'd just like to see some more direction on this. And that would perhaps make their
Well, they have the paper right in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're all on the same page that, the objectives are still within the parameters of what you put forward, that's fine.
I mean, I wouldn't want to weaken us in a position with a lawsuit, considering we follow your legal advice, so.
So
rest of it's
what's in front of us you're comfortable with for legal purposes?
I am, but I did this deliberately because I figured you could add on to it if you wanted.
Okay.
But did you say initially that it doesn't prevent
That's correct, yes.
them from, doing some of this, trying to meet some of these objectives? So,
This is in broad strokes, and it doesn't limit what this committee can do in its advisory role. And in some respects, it can do more. Now, knowing Davison for the last 45 years, this is what he wants to do today. But I wouldn't be surprised if, he came up with something the next month or the month after. And I only say that because then the next question is it beyond the scope? If you have it, because by the way, it's a compliment.
I know.
But what this does is it's not a limiting ordinance. It's a kind of a broad ordinance. That's why I did what I did. However, if you want to put these in, that's okay too.
I feel comfortable keeping it exactly the way it is. And
Yeah.
if the board has any questions, they can always talk to the council they're an advisory board to us and we have access to you. If their scope and
This is first reading
Objectives.
too, so if something really
if something comes up
comes up.
between now and next
Second
month, but
reading.
as of now, I say broad is better on this one.
Okay.
And gives you the latitude to do what you want to do and move the way you need to move, and I make a motion to move.
Right.
you're comfortable with?
Yep.
This is where,
Absolutely,
as
yeah.
we've discussed.
Yeah, I just wanted that to
Thank
be
you.
clear, so we're all on the same page.
And I mean, for disclosure purposes, Davison didn't even really want to come tonight, but I thought it was important.
true.
Is it,
All right,
anyone from the audience want to speak on this ordinance? I saw a lot of interested faces back there. Okay,
All right, motion to approve and move to the second reading.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to move to second reading. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay, next we're gonna jump to P5.
Chocolate?
Which is after P4. P3. Which you already did.
Don't need it.
Okay, P5 is from St. Mary of the Bay Food Pantry. It's for a pasta dinner on October 19th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. and it's for a Class F beverage license. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on that? Please come forward.
Beer and wine, I think.
Hello.
Hi. This is our first fundraising dinner, so I'm not quite sure what to do.
Okay, no, it's basically just, it looks like the hours of operation are from 5 to 8.
Yes,
It's the food pantry, it's beer and wine.
Yes.
You've got your tip certification and all of that stuff with the clerk. Okay, any questions from the council?
I'm familiar with the organization and I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Sure.
All in favor? Aye. See, that was easy.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have P6. This is a request for a tattoo license. It's from 1001 Troubles Tattoo. DBA Sarah Parent. Is Sarah here? Please come forward.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So I think this is already an established tattoo place, Anthony. She's just looking to become one of the employees there.
2001 tattoo has it.
Yep.
However, Sarah needs her license too,
Okay,
and that's why she's here. She has a state license.
I do, yeah.
okay.
Motion to approve. Yep.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Okay, next we have correspondence. Is there anything any council would like to pull?
And you did say, C5 is.
C5
Has been-
has been
Oh, yeah, okay.
withdrawn or whatever. Yep.
All right.
I would like to send out on C2, a letter of thanks to, retiring zoning board member Barrett Holby. If the clerk could put that out, that would be great. Okay, next we have,
Why don't we, let's just let the town know that we received $155,000 for planning. Right, see.
right, for the
P3.
Maricom Avenue corridor, we did get a grant. Yep, Rhode Island
And-
Commerce.
The 20,000.
And we got 20,000 for the summer events at Burris Hill Park, including the concerts, the movies, and the community Take It Outside night.
Thank
Next,
you.
we have old business, discussion and action on the end of the Twisted Road project.
Still waiting on responses from all the companies that we reached out to. One has actually responded. They're going to be looking at the project. They're a little caught off guard with it being this year because they were on the assumption that all of our paving got denied. I also have a meeting with RIDOT tomorrow on the municipal bridge fund. There is a second round of funding. So if we don't get this round, there's the thought that we're going to get next, but I'm going to try to clarify with them tomorrow exactly how this is going to play out. And if I have to request a special meeting for you guys before the end of the month, I will try to do that. But I think that we should be in good shape with the.
And this is
next
for
round.
the paving?
This is for paving and matching paving. So we can.
But I mean,
match-
that's what
Yeah.
you're referring to with.
Yeah, so I
RIDOT.
have one company that was the overall lowest bid company. They have actually responded. They're going to look into this road as well as a couple others that we had mentioned before that were in just as bad a shape as the end of that road. So with any luck, we'll have something from them shortly. I did send them the specifications today of what we're looking for so that it does not end up in the same place it was.
Is EV Drive one of those?
It is not it's on the list of a potential.
It's the
but-
Mosaic. I was out there today. It's,
Yeah,
there was shenanigans done when that was developed.
yeah, it's also,
And it's gonna wash out. It's washing out.
there's a lot of roads that will eventually need to be addressed.
We've got further down the.
Right,
agenda,
right,
we've got
right.
some
And we'll
funds
deal with it.
We're
then.
actually gonna be able to put towards some of.
And
that.
just as the update, I should have more information tomorrow and I can send an email out to everybody with how that meeting goes.
Thank you.
Yep. Next, we have OB2, and this is discussion and action on the tip, the tip fund where we were over on our annual budget
It
summary.
looked like it.
Yeah, it looked like it. And we did spend more, but there is a reason for it, and the town manager is gonna tell us all about it.
So, thank you, Mr. President. So I did reach out to David Walsh, who's the Assistant Director for Administrative Services at Rhode Island DOT, and asked if Warren was owed any money by DOT for the Water Street project. And Mr. Walsh reached out to his staff. They did research. The town of Warren has received all of the funding that they were due from Rhode Island DOT. In addition, on that email, he informed me that that grant was for sidewalks and that the town of Warren was responsible for the roadway and the curbing. So I believe that's where the discrepancy is in that
That would be,
from the audit.
that's why it was
That
such a
shows-
large number.
Well, we knew that at the time. The only real problem was coming out of the audit, having it reported the way it was.
Right.
Because when we did the sewer line, the surface was paid by the deal we cut with American Tourister.
With the tax. and
So-
yeah.
As long as you've come to the final of that bill that we were supposedly, that we owed, you know, everything's fine. I don't think you should go any further in the investigation.
No, but at least now we know
Now we
why.
know,
Now
but-
we know why it was so far off.
And I did speak with Ernie Almonte today about how we get that 900,000 off of the book, so to say.
Yeah.
He did explain to me a little bit. It was a little bit over my head, but he did say that he would work with us. If we have any questions, to call him. So I will certainly reach out to him and get a better explanation and have somebody that really understands how we have to do that to get that off the record.
And remember, if Anthony, you, for reference, the time that was negotiated, that the costs would come off of American Tourist's taxes after their CO. So they paid us for the street in lieu of the tax payments. The sewer, and we got the street out of that deal as well. Because if we had done it in any other timeline, they were going to cut up a brand new street. So they requested that, and you and I down at the church, remember that big meeting? So, yeah, so maybe that's another reason why it was on the ledger. Because the way it was or the way it was paid for wasn't just in a cash disbursement. It was a cash disbursement, but from them. So if you need to go any further on that, we can find that in the minutes, because that was negotiated here.
Well,
Certainly look into that. Yeah.
We have the records. It's
right.
just if
it's just nice to know.
Just glad
It's
it's
nice to know
there.
that we don't owe $900,000.
and it would have been nice if the auditor knew, but the way the books were kept.
Yep.
At least we have an answer.
All right,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Next on the agenda is something I brought up, but that's also covered in the manager's request for opera funds. Mine was to use $7,500 for the Warren Armory because it's still reaction to the COVID, and the clam bakes haven't been generating what they needed. So we could probably just move that to the town manager item, Anthony, because it's listed on here. All right, so we'll just move that to town manager while he's up there. Okay, first one we have is discussion and action for the contract with Sinagro for sludge management.
Yes, Mr. President, this is, if you recall from, I believe the last two meetings that we had discussions that Sinagro was going to increase the rates. And this is the two-page contract that they sent regarding those changes in the rates. It has been sent to the solicitor, and I believe he's satisfied.
Essentially, what you're doing is you're renewing the contract that you've already had. This is a renewal. All of the terms and conditions that you previously agreed to remain in full force and effect, except for the amount of money that you're paying, which has been
A higher rate. Did we come up with the number of what the total increase would be for the annual cost?
Yeah, I believe I reported that last, I think based on the numbers that they had given us, I believe I reported it was about a $3,000 difference from what was budgeted.
Okay.
For this fiscal year.
So it was
Yeah.
$3,000 over, which, yeah, okay.
And the difference also is it's 1 year.
Right, and the other difference is really it's sole source bidder.
Oh, yeah,
Nobody
we
else
have
can
no
take it.
choice.
you don't know what's gonna happen after next year.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the contract with Sinagro for 1 year. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next, we have number 2, the update on the Opera Rescue Plan Act funds and obligated for December 2024. We have the recommendations in front of us. What do you, now, Brian, on your list here, in other words, the top part of what we have already committed, correct?
Yes, so could I just go back to, so everyone has an understanding of what
Yes,
obligation means?
absolutely. Yep.
So obligation to the federal government means that, you know, there's a contract in place or you've already ordered something, or there's an agreement for payment, there's something in the works. The obligation is not that the council has said, oh, we're going to use the money for this.
Okay.
You know, once they say we're going to use it for this, we have to start to get action, basically, start moving on it to make sure that now the money doesn't have to be spent by December 24th. It has to be obligated, meaning that there's a contract in place or there's a purchase order or something similar to that in place to hold that money
Okay.
to be paid for by December of 2025.
So there was some confusion about what that obligation
Obligation.
meant, and so you've clarified that in
Yes.
the paperwork that you submitted, which is good, because people said it had to be an actual formal contract, which it actually doesn't. So that's
Okay, so-
it's helpful.
Let me rephrase my question. I think you just gave me the answer. So you've got items on the top that are under obligation. So those are already pledged or?
So the fiscal year 24-25 obligations? Is that-
Yes.
Yes. So the items at the top are obligations that the council has already committed to.
Okay.
The police vehicle and computer was part of this budget that you said would come out of the opera money.
Okay.
The health care, the health equity zone, that's $9,000. They were given $25,000. I believe it was in fiscal year 22, 23, but they only used 15 of it. So there's still another
Okay.
5 outstanding owed to them. Hope in Maine was a 3-year commitment of $50,000 each year for 3 years.
So this ends
So this will be the third and final payment.
so this is the amount that Mr. Abruzzi wrote us the letter in support of?
I believe so.
Yourself.
Yes,
So
that's
yeah,
correct.
Mr. O'Connor, there's no other.
Yes.
All right, I wanted to clarify
Yes.
that. Thank you.
The 625,000 is for the
primary sludge tanks. Is that what they're called?
That the rails,
At
The whole thing, yeah.
at the water treatment. Yeah.
this include the rails, Norm? This brings us up to date where you needed to be.
Very, very.
Hesitant, right?
I was
For
looking
what
up
we
saying,
had
Joe,
previously
you never asked,
spoken about,
you never
right?
asked that
The sewer
question.
man, all right.
Where you want to be. Never asked that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 7,500 is the request for
armory.
the armory.
Oh, earlier. Yep.
The 112 is the chimney that was approved by the council. The 16,663 is money that the town owes to Fuss and O'Neill for projects they did involving either water or sewer from after March of 2021 until current. I believe this is the
This is what,
Mr. Yes, yes.
Right, he
The
negotiated-
planner.
He negotiated this back.
Correct.
I
that's
think
what we're talking about there.
At this
okay.
point, I think what we should do is, because these are broken into 2 categories, I think we should vote to approve the items just read by the town manager in the amount of 906,163.
Motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, now.
Wait, can we, could I go back?
Sure.
I just want the armory to realize that this is a one-time help. It's not a fix. You're aware of that?
Yeah, the real thing is to put the armory under the municipal budget as a problem building.
Just don't, well, I just don't want you to think that we took it on tonight. We gave you $7,500 and the discussion will be open. I just wanted you to make sure you,
Totally understand.
okay, thank you.
All
Good
right,
point,
so
thank
those items we have are approved. Now, Brian, I guess the other ones are what because we did ask you last month to come up with what you think
Yes,
it
Mr.
would be
President.
adequate use for the remaining funds, and I'm gonna give you back the floor. Okay.
Thank you. So new transfer station, that is the
Scale?
thank you. The scale at the Public Works Department. I understand that that's from the 70s, that it's beyond its life expectancy right now. It's still working relatively fine, but I think the that gets used a lot, and the transfer station, the updating the transfer station, would benefit, many of the residents of the town who use it.
Would be
Going
difficult to
forward.
operate without it.
I'm sorry,
It would be difficult to operate without it.
it would be very difficult, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I have and John, I'm sure you have other questions in this regard as well. How much is the scale alone?
That
Right.
scale, to replace that scale, would cost $25,000.
Okay, so shouldn't this line item, so shouldn't this line item more be about the scale because you know,
It's kind of deceiving with new
Well,
transfer.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's
No.
deceiving, I just, it's
Well, we-
mislabeled.
So we can,
The new transfer
we-
station is the shed over
Yeah,
the pits.
as we vote on it, we can say this is for the new transfer
the
station
scale.
scale and upgrades to the chute.
Whatever else they can spend, fine, but I just don't.
And and
want-
upgrades to the chutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just need it to be, this is it, folks. This is all we got. So, I want the wording to be, correct.
All right, so let's make a motion to change item 1, instead of reading new transfer station scale and upgrade to chutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got that one. Okay,
The next one is the road paving, 100,000 for road paving.
Brian, I have a question. Now, can we use opera money towards the match? Wasn't there like a 30% match the state was doing? So we can use opera money towards the match?
So the state would match what we spend
Right.
on this paving. So if we paved 100,000, I believe they would give us 30. Is that
30,
correct,
so
Ron?
we're actually
So
making, so we're actually making this 130,000.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, it's not a match.
Well, it can be used for a match, but that's not what this.
But it's not a match.
Okay.
They're increasing our purchasing capabilities.
Okay.
So there's an incentive for us to put the money into the paving through them. And they will give us 30% additional. So
Alright,
we're
so-
paying for Twisted Point for free.
We're getting 130 for 100. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Is it,
Next.
is the paving designated to streets yet, or?
I'm sure we have a list. I don't think it's committed yet, so.
Excuse me?
Well, we spent the money on that study. It should have identified all the
Well-
areas that are,
Yeah,
right.
right.
We know which one we're gonna
Okay, all right. So next would be the WWT basement. thing.
Yeah, so that is the wastewater treatment fan basement, fan in the basement, which has been broken for how long? Long time. It brings fresh air into the
It's a health
facility.
issue.
It's
Yeah.
actually a health hazard. That
Okay,
the Fern Drive drain match, so that's a match. Right now, we have a grant to repair the drainage on Fern Drive. But that, it requires a match, and this money would match that grant so that we'd be able to complete that project.
okay.
Town hall repairs, 20,000 for town hall repairs. That would be to try to address the windows that are downstairs that are
Ground level.
at the ground level, yes.
What used to be the entrance to the rescue station.
Yep.
So it may be a little off topic, but how will the money that the Preservation Society just collected be integrated into all of this work, or any of it?
So.
Is there an idea about that?
Yes, I've had discussions with the Preservation Society, and they want their donations, which they collected for the chimney itself. So their money will go towards the chimney, the repair of the chimney. If there is extra money to take care of the gutters or the fascia board or whatever else need to be repaired up there, the money that we appropriate from that we've already appropriated, the 112,000.
Yeah, I don't think
Could go
112
toward
covered
that.
the whole chimney.
Thank you, appreciate that.
The unfortunate aspect is with the staging up there would be the best time to deal with the fascia and the soffit, but if we don't have the money, we don't have the money. Maybe we can write a grant. Sure.
There you go.
The senior center program, that is a software program. It's called My Senior Center System. Currently, all of the information at the senior center is collected by paper and hand, including emergency contact information and who's in the building. Kira, who is just sometimes is there most of the time by herself, although she does have volunteers that help out. But this would help her immensely in being able to monitor who comes in, who's there, what programs, be able to run programs with this. And basically, it would take her up to the 21st century in being able to run the senior center. This program is currently being used in Bristol, Barrington, and East Providence as well for their senior centers. The town hall computer update. Many of the desktops in the town hall are COVID or pre-COVID dated. Their life expectancy is almost at its end. And as you know, in the digital age that we're in right now, if those computers go down, then especially in the finance and in the town clerk's office, we would certainly have some concerns. I don't believe we have any backup computers here in town hall that I'm aware of. So,
You know how many we're talking about?
so with the 15,000, we could probably get probably anywhere between 10 and 12, depending on whether we needed monitors and those other types of, yes. And the last item that I have here is the Market Street flood mitigation grant. There was a grant that was just recently brought to my attention that was put in. How long ago was that put in?
As well.
Yeah, just got the award. But there is a match as well.
And that's what this is for.
And that's 20,000 would be the match to that, so that we could get the full grant. I believe is 80,000. Yeah, I think I have it. Yeah, but
That's okay, as long as the match is correct.
All right, so that totals out to 484. And so then, all right, so is the council comfortable with that second batch that we just went through? Now, these are all, 90% of these are needs. It's not, I got a whole want list that I like.
Oh, yeah, we can't.
But you gotta do the need list first, so.
I mean, I'd like to increase paving, but is this everything?
That's why I was gonna ask him, if we approve this, that pretty much zeroes out the opera money, correct?
yes.
1.4.
Yes, we have, currently we have, I think if you go to page 2, I have the breakdown on for you on as far as the spending. If you see it, fiscal year 2021, we spent 0. 21-22, we spent 53,492.
I don't have that.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't get that second page.
It's on,
Oh, here it is. It's the
Oh,
third
yeah, I
page.
got it.
Third
All right.
page.
third page, I'm sorry.
Good.
Fiscal year 22-23 was 633,954. 23-24 was 1,061,055. That totaled 1,748,501. The funding we got from the federal government was 3,141,809. And so what we have remaining is 1.3 million, 1.393,309.
We got about 2,700 more. You wanna put that to the paving?
No. I'm sure we'll need it for any one of the things that we just approved.
Okay.
Motion to approve 1,390,663,000. Oh, wait. No, because we already did the first batch.
It's
Motion to approve
480.
484,500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Brian. There's a lot of help having
you, Mr.
those
President.
recommendations. Okay, next we have discussion and action, the wastewater plant budget overrun of expenditures.
So, Mr. President and members of the council, this is bills that came in for the wastewater treatment plant that are currently haven't been paid yet and have caused us to go into the red at the wastewater treatment plant for the amount of $187,922.
What's
Yeah, I guess so.
what caused these overages? Was it just price increases? Did something else pop up that we used money for that we didn't have budgeted?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm, in my short period here, I'm trying to wrap my head around wastewater, to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
some of these things are, clean outs of pumping stations
Yeah.
that are required to be done because of rainstorms.
Yeah, we got a
And
pump
then-
rebuild. I can see that. That's popped up. That wasn't planned on. The wastewater pump replacement.
Well, I have a curious question. Where do we propose to get this money from?
This is all stuff that happens in,
Okay.
Denise said the other day that a lot of the money is from capital money. Biggest problem with some of this stuff is the timing state, it takes to get something done. When you see the fire, they have to help. Now it's taking 12, 16, and 12. Gas, one month, whole different report. Bill actually comes in.
Okay.
So with that. Street pump station. So wait.
Yep. Now, the plant operation, aren't we under contract for that?
We are under contract for that, $68,000 and $50 a month.
But that should have been in the budget already.
That was in the budget, and from what I understand, Dave, you wanna explain a little bit?
How it appears is that, previous finance manager did not budget that line at the amount that you all approved. It was a $300,000 shortfall. And it apparently got moved to another, wastewater account, which basically got spent. So we're sitting here with, $200,000 that we should have had to put in there.
I don't
That
understand.
confuses the hell out of me. But it should have had, but it wasn't there. So it was spent on other items. Okay.
Other items of the wastewater treatment.
Within that line item?
Wow.
So how is there access to $300,000 in a fund that could be discretionary spending on other items?
It was in the wastewater treatment, from what I understand, was in the wastewater treatment section of the budget.
As
yeah,
what?
but-
What was it titled? What was the line item?
Something like. It was another operations, it wasn't, there's two operations. Wastewater management. Yeah, wastewater management, that's right. They're not the contract. The contract, the $68,000 a month is the one that got short. And the money was moved to the.
So we're gonna come
Wastewater
up-
management.
Are we gonna come, no, July, the next month, July is gonna be next fiscal year.
No, we're in the fiscal
Right,
year.
no, but yeah, we're going 6/1, so we're in, so this is this covers 6/1. So July 1 should be in this fiscal year, right? So you're not gonna be back next month for another 68,000, are we?
No, but we owe $187,000.
And that, in the audit, it showed there was 300 and something extra in the wastewater account. There was actually an email that was sent that somebody said we were overtaxing on the wastewater because we had so much reserve. And now I find out that we're 187 below.
You moved somewhere in the neighborhood of $800,000 for the contract.
Correct.
Wastewater contracts. Okay. One only put $500,000 in Edmonds in the budget.
and moved the other one to the wastewater management. Not all of that got spent. So there's probably $100,000 left that we can apply toward this problem.
Okay.
And we're looking for the rest.
But we can't do probably.
Yeah, we need to know where we're gonna get it from, which line item
How
are we
did
gonna
we
get it
not
from?
know
What
this
line item
a
item is
month
over?
ago? But how did we not know this a month ago? These bills are from
June 1st.
June. It's July. And what you're talking to me about is historical reference on accounts that you knew were not necessarily the amount that should have been in the right space. I thought we had rectified everything coming out of our budget meetings so that we had a handle on where we were gonna be in the end run of the 24 budget. I mean, this is a bit of a surprise when our general fund right now is about $300,000. I just hope you
More than a
understand.
surprise, it's-
Yeah.
I mean, that this is, you know,
Disaster.
it's not what I wanted to
I mean,
hear.
it's like, is there a line item that they didn't overspend there? That we could possibly take some money out of?
In the sewer, line item, the sewer budget itself?
Yeah, I'm assuming each one of these items here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Is
10,
there any
12,
recommendation on offsets? from other-
13 are probably, well, there's 2 double for chemicals, but they're probably gonna be separate line items.
So the entire wastewater management budget is zero. Negative 187 is what you're telling me. So there's no other lines that we can use to fund these overruns.
I would have to, I believe,
We're scrubbing the budget to see where we got some extra.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but I'm going to. Coming into this meeting tonight and having you not prepared and having you telling me that you're going to look at it when I have a bill owed last month is like the worst answer you could give me. I don't even want to hear anything right now, Dave.
So,
Well, I'm sorry. This isn't $1.87.
I
It's
know.
$187,000 that we don't have any research, we don't have any reference. He's gonna look into it. This isn't what I wanted to hear from you. I wanted recommendations on where the money was, how we could spend this, why you found out so late about it.
how are we gonna pay it?
Not you're gonna look into it next week. We're trying to make a motion on paying a bill that's a month old in the last fiscal year, so we can try to move forward.
Okay.
I guess
Any,
we're gonna have a special meeting, John.
any suggestions where we're gonna get the money from?
He's gonna look into it.
Mr. President, there is $122,000 that has not been transferred from the opera account that was already spent by the town previously that needs to be transferred to the general fund. That money was spent in prior fiscal years, not this fiscal year, but prior fiscal years, but it was never transferred over from the opera account to the general fund.
So that's excess 122?
That's 122 that the town spent on projects under the American Rescue Plan
Yes.
Act that never was transferred from the money that the account that the opera money in, which is a separate account, not connected to the general fund. It's a separate savings account, so to say. That money needs to be transferred to the general fund.
Which is $122,000.
So we're taking it out of the ARA
We
restricted
still, we still gotta come up with another
60,000.
66.
I just want to make sure what I'm hearing is correct. So it's in a restricted account now,
Correct,
the ARA money.
correct.
All right, so motion to move the $122,000 from the restricted account to the general fund. And then can you please get us an up-to-date to the minute on where we're gonna get the money?
$65,922.
Well,
We
does
don't
that,
know where it's coming from.
does that change what we just did with the ARPA money?
No, this
I
is
don't think
money
so.
that
This
the
is money
town
we already
spread.
allocated. We just never moved it over yet.
No, I'm just saying, we just approved a bunch of ARPA fund.
No, I think
And
This is separate from
I
that.
think we already spent it. I think what Brian said, we already spent it. We just didn't move it from the opera funds to the general fund.
Correct. It was never moved over.
Okay.
So it's not included $3 million a month.
It was part of that 3 million. Yes. But it was never, it was approved spending that never was drawn down on previously.
Yeah, I mean, what's catching me so far off guard is the pump rebuild on Wood Street. We had to know about that before, we got the bill on June 12th. How long ago was that done? Woodward and Curran is just recent, that's a cheaper one, but the chemicals on the 5th, I mean, we had to see this coming, but we didn't see it coming. Somebody had to see this coming.
The way the budget was set up, it was unfortunately evidently $300,000 in a block.
But as I said, there's still 100,000 of that left, which will cover 65,000 that's remaining. So between the ARPA money and what we have, we should be all right. We will be.
Okay, but you understand, I hope, my frustration is that you're actually giving me a conversation versus paper telling me, I mean, I hate to say, I don't have the same confidence that you may have. I haven't seen what you have. You haven't presented me anything. We didn't know this last month. See what I'm saying? I would have loved to last month had known that we have $100,000 that we now see. We would go from normal budgeting to crisis. We're in crisis because we didn't do our end of the year rectifying. At the end of the year, come June, we always have to figure out how close we were in the guesswork of our budget and the exact expenditures that came out of our line items, right? And then we match it all up. So if you had told me this last month, I wouldn't feel like you're not giving me good information. But tonight I feel, okay, let's hope the 120 is there. Let's hope the other 100 is there. Unfortunately, this takes us into the next month. It's just not how I want to conduct business. And we can't do that moving forward.
If the plan operation was underfunded by $300,000, we've been seeing this for at least 4 months.
But the way that,
This overrun.
but evidently the way that it was in the budget, it wasn't easy for us to identify because it wasn't in line items. It was in the waste management fund, wastewater management fund. And then they would draw that money out. Is what I'm saying correct? So they would draw the money out to these line items, which in my opinion is operating, capital, lots of things that, so we're gonna work on this, Norm, right? And I don't blame you. I blame the fact that all of you guys together should have understood where we were coming into the tightening up the budget process for us so that we could be as fine tuned as we need to be. I mean, it's good to hear that you've got this money.
Okay, so Anthony, what's the
Let's put it to,
procedure? Should we vote to overexpend that without knowing what account it's coming out of?
oh, I can't do that.
I pulled off.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta show us, you gotta give us some way to take it from, to move it before we can approve it.
So I don't think we seconded the motion to move the 120 from the opera fund.
Do we actually need a motion to do that?
It's in a restricted account right now. We have to put it in the general fund.
Yeah, my only question is that money that wasn't moved over, is that part of that 3 million account that's top, that needs to be verified?
All right, let's do it for next month so we can make sure that all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. So
Yeah,
please, next
You gotta,
month,
you gotta show us where we're gonna, because if we're gonna approve to spend this, we gotta know what it's coming out of. We gotta make sure that we actually have it in that line item to take it out and move it over.
and from what you're saying, it sounds like we'll have $40,000 left in the general fund versus right now trying to figure out how we're gonna come up with 187,000 or roundabout close enough, what, 13,000?
Okay, so we'll have a motion to continue this to next month.
I mean, I guess we don't even need it. No action taken. Right? Motion to continue this to next month.
Is there gonna be any issues with any
I
of
would
these
just-
expenditures that we're not
I
paying?
recommend if they motion to continue, need to have a special meeting, you have to have.
Right, motion to continue.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Yeah, and the other big question I have is, This is wastewater. This is usually at the end of the year, we get hit with a few overages here and there from every department, just because they're closing out their budgets. Could we be expecting anything serious next month for another department that's overexpended by a crap load of money?
There are no departments that are overspended other than wastewater.
Okay, so we have no outstanding bills that haven't been posted and haven't been paid from last fiscal year. That's my question. In other words, because this is from last fiscal year. Do we have any other surprises from last fiscal year that we thought we had closed out?
Only the normal, overflow from one year to the next.
Okay, but nothing big. Usually it's like maybe $500 for this, for postage or blah, blah, blah.
But we should be brought,
Well, some of them we don't actually get the bill till after the fiscal year closes.
okay, but I just want you to know, in case you need to talk to Mr. DeSisto and look at the charter, every one of those is going to come in front of this council. So the action of going from 24 to the 25-26 budget doesn't just automatically happen. It has to come in front of us and we have to appropriate those.
Overexpending.
Yes. Just, I don't know if you're aware of that. Yeah.
What you're gonna need to do, of course you have this, in case there's any surprises, to close out your books. You're gonna need to make sure that you have all of these things down pat, so that's why I say continue it. Hopefully this will be wrapped up quickly and you can get it done from there.
Yep. And if
But that's
any,
what you're gonna need to close out your books. for FY.
I'm trying to mask my surprise. I am sorry. I
I wasn't expecting.
thought that you understood the
187,000.
municipal budgetary processing that we are required to do by law. So we're gonna bring you up to speed on it. My fault. We'll move this item till next month.
And any department heads, if you have bills from last fiscal year, please get them in. So we only have to do this once more next month. We're not gonna be doing this again in September.
Oh, no, this has to happen. Probably a special meeting.
Well, we'll see, Joe. I think we'll be okay
Well,
going
let's
till
hope.
July, but just in case there are any other outstanding invoices from departments from last fiscal year. Get them in, get them posted, so we know when we're done, we're done. All right, okay. So we're gonna move to continue. We had a vote, did we have a vote already?
No.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Okay. Next, we have, update on the facade on the north end pump station.
So you may have noticed that the rock facade that was on the north end pump station has been taken down. It was in May, it was discovered by Norm actually that it looked like someone had hit the wall. On further discovery and having the trust go out, and take a look at it, it was determined that was, for lack of a better word, not secured to the concrete properly.
So it's a bad installation.
Yes.
Yeah, the water got in and it. popped.
Yeah, and so because of safety issues, the highway department did remove that area of the facade that would have to be, people would have to travel.
south
work.
side.
Yeah, would have to work, yes. I have reached out to Brito, who was the contractor, and they have given me the name of the individual or the company that installed the facade. I did have place a call into them, waiting for a call back from them to find out if, I don't believe it's under warranty, but to find out what their take on how this happened and
Keep
what could
Anthony
be
in
done
the
about
loop
it.
in case it becomes a legal matter.
Just could you, in your motion?
Yeah.
So we have no recourse.
Oh.
essentially.
Well, let me make a suggestion on this. Refer the matter to the manager and solicitor for further action. Send out a letter, we'll see what happens.
Okay, I have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next we have the town website update.
I've been in contact with Revise, which is our website, who hosts our website. We have a contract in place with them. They actually had been trying to get in touch with us to revamp the town website. These are, if you look at the pictures that were given to you, these are what has been designed for the town already.
I don't really like the latest news. Looks like tombstones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It fits. Yeah. Apropos.
But, yeah.
So
Okay.
I wanted to update you on that. I know there's been some concern and criticism of how our town website looks right now. And that we're in the process of working with Revise to update the look of the website, make it more professional and user-friendly.
Now, once it's done, Brian, are we gonna have the ability to update and maintain it, or is it gonna be a contract with the company?
So we currently are in the process of training a couple of people to be able to add content to
Okay.
so we have the ability to add content, take content away, and work on the website itself. So someone wanted something added on there, we have the ability to do that, go in and be able to do that.
Okay.
Eventually, what I would like, what my envision is that the department heads be able to manage their own a section of the website and add things, take things and those types of things. And that's what part of the training is that we are doing right now.
So getting back to John, your question, who's overseeing the new design, gets to sign off on that?
So that took place before I was involved. It was the woman that
It's not a revamp of the site, is what you're saying?
it's not, it's a more modernization and making our site more user friendly. There is the person that at Revise that's working on it is named Jade. That's the girl that reached out to me. And I was surprised when she reached out to me and said that she's been, trying to update our website, trying to update the pages. Because I had been trying to get training to find out how to get training because no one really knew how to get in. Some of the girls knew some information, but they hadn't had proper training from the website company itself. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now for adding, taking away things. And then that's when I was informed that Revise has been working to update the look of our website.
Well, that's my question is who's gonna sign off on the look? In other words,
Bring it in front of.
Yeah, I can bring it to the council. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, I mean, I think it'd be helpful to have a couple of different people look at it, rather than you have the responsibility to approve, what'd you call these tombstones?
You look like tombstones.
Yeah, I don't mean to make light of it, but it's,
I understand.
yeah. So I guess we're gonna, we do any action on this?
I don't. This was just informative.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one, updating regarding the employees' retirement system, summary of Article 102.
So this is this was part of the governor's budget, Article 12 of the governor's budget. And that article had some impact on pensions through the state pension system. I do not know what the exact impact that will be on the town of Warren. I know the League of Cities and Towns is working to try to come up with what number impact that might be, but as you can see, this is from the treasurer's office, this paper that you have. It's a summary from the treasurer's office. And so it changes from 5 consecutive years to 3 consecutive years, then the pension composition, what the figure is going to be. It's the highest 3 years, not the highest 5 years. It also impacts the COLA. So there could be an impact of between $20,000 and $25,000 to the town that was not budgeted. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. I don't have any numbers, specific numbers now. Right now.
And this is mandatory. This is state law. We're gonna.
This was part of the budget and it was passed and yes, we had no say in it. Yes.
When did this apply?
That's July.
Started July 1.
Oh, all right, so we're there, okay.
Yes. I believe when it first was proposed, that I believe the treasurer was looking at January, but it went to July 1.
Okay. Next, we have update on the pole replacement removal.
Yes, this is the follow-up from last month's meeting when we talked about the two poles that are married together and what the procedure is for removing that broken pole, so to say. I reached out to the individual who was involved in the contract that we approved last month. And he informed me this is the procedure that, that stops from the top and goes down, and whoever has items on that pole is notified that they're up next to remove their things, and they have to report that in a system. And then once that is, everyone has removed everything from that pole, then either the electric company or phone company is then responsible for removing that old pole. So,
But it's when everything else is abandoned and there's no penalty and it depends on
It's
the
on their
other,
schedule. not ours.
yeah. So it's-
Yeah, he's saying unfortunately, the process is very dependent on the speed at which the other attachers transferred.
We live with these.
So they're waiting for all these other vendors
Probably not on their
to
item,
come in.
right.
No,
And they don't have a necessarily strong incentive
Probably
to
send the
get-
guys there when they got a slow day.
basically. So we end up with what Joe, you
yes.
pointed out is an eyesore and. But we don't.
thank
really
you
have
for
any
getting
control.
the language.
Okay, that closes out the town manager. Next up is the town solicitor. We have, Anthony, we have a lawsuit.
Yes, this is a statutory notice of claim under section 45-15-9 of the general laws. The claimant is a Denise Procaccini, and I would recommend that the claim be
Motion to
denied.
deny and send it to
and
the
refer
trust.
the trust.
Do we have a second?
We have a second. Is there any room for discussion here?
There is, yes.
Sure.
So this is the street I live on. I'm very familiar with this set of stairs and I just wondered, when the sidewalks were put in, why wasn't this addressed at that time?
The claimant is asking for information as to who installed this step. That's the first thing. I'm going to say right now, it's a very complicated case. There could be far-reaching implications for the town on this. It's particularly in the historic zone because there are so many steps that have been there for quite some time that intrude onto the town's right of way. So that's why I'm recommending that this be referred to the trust. I think that there's going to be a lot of activity on this case going forward. There's some implications here.
Understood.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to refer this to the trust. All in favor?
I,
Okay, next we have the traffic commission. Whoops. Discussion and action for the flashing red light. We actually had a brief test.
Well, I
today.
actually found out that the light was broken.
Yes,
The Market Street light's broken. That's why it was on flashing and we had a detail there. Thanks, Chief Borges.
They think that somebody put a hex on it.
Well,
We
I'm
thought it was
trying to
you.
get it to
we thought it was
disappear.
you running a test to see if it worked.
Should have been.
Okay, fine.
So I did reach out to the State Traffic Commission. They did have a consultant go down and take a look at the light. I was surprised yesterday when I heard the light was on flash because I hadn't had that conversation with the State Traffic Commission. I did reach out to him today. He was not in the office today. He will be in tomorrow. But he informed me that we should have some kind of either report or at least verbal information for the August meeting as to the recommendations that could take place with that light.
Wait, if I could,
Sure.
when you talk to him, let him know that we would be very interested in having the state come down and have a meeting to discuss looking at that whole intersection again. It was last done about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Because even though I'm trying to figure out something better, Child Street's location without a stop sign on Main or a red light on Main blocks the intersection. The timing that they allow the traffic to flow, I know the guy was there a few weeks ago because I stopped and spoke to him. He was doing whatever his intervals are. If they care, a little special involvement there would make them look great on their way to the Washington Bridge. So we can just figure out how to help our four little streets there. I'm not wanting anything to go faster. I just want the people who are sitting there to be able to actually go where they want to go. So,
Understood.
that's all.
Okay,
I swore I would never stop asking. So for 22 years I've been asking.
we know. All right, next, now we have the finance director, revenues and expenditures.
You do. Councilman Heckert contacted me a few days ago and asked me to talk about a couple of revenue accounts that seem to be not having much lower than anticipated amounts. I'm happy to say that we have found the solution to this. All three of these, the permits, the third-party billing by the EMS, and the rec center, they all have separate accounts where people buy their services and things with credit cards. So they go through a couple of different companies that process these. And to be honest, you know, I overlooked them. I didn't know about this, but I know about them now. We got third-party billing up to date through May. They're $30,000 below what they anticipated for the year, but they still have June, and we're averaging 60 grand a month.
Yep.
So that should be okay. In terms of the,
Because that's pretty significantly.
Yeah, that
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
$281,000.
exactly,
Okay,
Kind of stood out, so.
well,
And in the building office, I know I talked to the building official, said there was a bookkeeping error there that
yeah.
didn't transfer
It was, no,
over.
it was the same thing. There was an account where people were paying their permit fees with credit cards. And it hadn't been posted virtually all year since last July. So I did that today. And they are now $29,000 over their anticipated annual budget. So they're in good shape.
and they still have a month to go to?
No.
Okay, so
That's it for-
that's up to date. Good.
Yeah.
Good job, Matt.
The third one is the rec account. They are $43,000 under where we thought they'd be at this time. However,
Actually, last year's revenue, it wasn't the anticipated.
it's revenue.
Yeah, but it was prior year revenue compared with 43,000.
Okay, all right.
So
Well, be that as it may,
yes,
they have $93,000 in a very similar account where people pay the camp fees and stuff like that with a credit. And Tara has not finished dividing all that money up into the various accounts it belongs in, which said she's almost ready to give it to me, and when she does, we'll put it in there and it'll be fine.
you said she has 90,000.
93.
Well, okay, 93,000. So that's a $40,000 swing or 40.
Right.
That's pretty significant.
Yep.
Steve, do we
Well,
have
I-
any, do we have any other accounts that use similar payments that may not be getting posted where it's supposed to
I'm
go?
looking.
Okay,
We have to look at it.
okay,
I think we might,
okay.
but I'll find them if we do.
All right.
So
Okay.
on the expenditure side, I pointed out 3 line items that were under expended. Insurance by $435,000, employee benefits by $502,000, and pension costs by $248,000. That was last month that you and I talked.
Yes.
Well, if you look at, you gave us this month's, and it's even more under expended. So how is it that amount of money is under expended? I mean, we've gone through the fiscal year, we've closed it out. So we're comparing apples with apples.
Yeah.
I just, it's eye popping.
We have 4 months of health insurance and dental insurance and life insurance that has not yet been posted.
Because?
Because there were too many other things going on.
See, that's not the right answer.
Well, you know, well, it is.
Now,
It's only me. I'm the only guy.
did we, a couple months ago, we allocated some money for some people to get the books up to date.
They're helping us
Okay,
do the reconciliations.
okay. How's that going along? Pretty good.
They just started.
Now, will that bring some of this back into line as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, what I'm frustrated by is that I look at these, I go through these, revenue and expenditure statements and I'm only looking for the big numbers. I'm not getting down into nitty gritty. I mean,
I
I'm looking
understand
at
that.
tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, this is how we got in trouble before, because somebody took their eye off the ball. And I mean, I don't want to see these, I don't want
We're
to see
playing,
them come to us.
we're playing catch up here.
Excuse me?
We're playing catch up.
But Dave,
Well-
it's as if you don't understand the municipal budgetary process. We zero out. We zero out. It doesn't just continue on. We need to know, this is the month where we zeroed everything out.
I understand that.
I may have to leave the room because I'm staring a hole through my solicitor's face and I'm looking at my manager and I'm hearing stuff that I'm never supposed to hear, Dave. These aren't the things you want this councilman to hear. You understand that?
Okay, now let's get towards a solution here. What do we need to get everything posted and everything straightened out so we know where we're going? What do we need? What do you need us to do to help you get this done?
You already helped us with the bank reconciliations. That's probably 75% of the issue. Once we have those, we can compare with the balance sheets and the trial balances, and we can figure out what's missing. That's the big thing. And we're chipping away at the stuff we're finding.
Right,
The
but
problem
Dave,
is
the
that we
problem is
can't
we
chip
can't
away
chip
because-
away. We start a
I know.
new fiscal
Doesn't
year.
work.
You can't, we're starting a new fiscal year and we don't even know where the hell we are from last year. These are things that have to be done. I'm gonna ask the town manager to do whatever you're gonna do to get this squared away by next month, so we have hard numbers, we have our revenues and expenditures where they're supposed to be, tells us where we're at, what the hell's going on and where we're going, because we can't keep coming in here not knowing where we're going or where we've been. So that's a number one priority for you this month, please. Get this fixed, so we have updated revenues and expenditures that are accurate, and we have all these other numbers that are accurate, so we know where we were, and then we can just take the path and follow the correct path forward. It's hard to do that when you don't know where the hell you're coming from. So that would be my directive, please. Okay, so we can't really take any action on that. Let's go to the town planner next.
Herb Durfee, town planner, still. Basically just a very quick thing. You have heard that already that we're involved in the Safe Streets for All, but in your packets tonight, it's the beginning of the process where the state is trying to get information from individuals, whether they be in TV land, as you term it, Mr. President, or people that are here tonight. As part of the packet, there is a little QR code that appears on a couple of the pages. And if people would please take the time to go through that particular survey, you can actually specifically put pins on a map in terms of where you believe that there are some particular issues. Because ultimately what this grant is looking to do is to identify areas for improved public safety as it pertains to our roadways. And that's going to be both at the town level as well as the state level. And again, the sheets are pretty self-explanatory in terms of how to get involved. But again, it's the QR code that I would draw attention to for those folks that are not as computer savvy to understand a QR code from that standpoint. Just reach out to my office through email or give me a call and I can help anybody get to the website or even help them with regard to the survey if they're not computer literate.
For people out on TV, that is a QR code. Looks like a little crossword puzzle.
Yep. And usually if you have a phone, you turn your camera on and put your phone on the QR code and it will actually call up the web page that it will take you to.
Great.
So you need as much participation as we can get would be very helpful. obviously.
Correct.
The more the-
Right. With like any survey, the more input that we can get, the better. In the grand scheme of things, this is going to help to create a safety plan for the town of Warren as well as any other communities participating throughout the state. And that ultimately that plan will probably help the town in terms of potential financial resources like grants or something that would be focused on those areas for improvements.
Great.
Is there an opportunity to use Warren Connect in this regard to reach out to people?
Yes, this is already up on the webpage. I think I've already asked Brian to put it up on the little mobile thing that we have. So
That was one of the reasons we wanted to take on Warren Connect, so we can not only get feedback from people, complaints sometimes, but also to be able to reach out to people. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that that's being utilized in that way.
Yep.
Thank you.
absolutely. And as the town webpage improves, it'll be easier to find.
There we go.
But, and then also there will be some public meetings as we move forward. And as I figure out those dates, I'll keep you and the public informed.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have request permission to spend $4,958 from account 01-550-00-2340 for playground compliance.
Yep, this is, working with Tara and, mulch for the playgrounds. This account had $10,000 in it and was not being spent. It's no longer there next year, so figured one last ditch effort, get some, mulch that we need desperately for some of
I
the
think we
playgrounds.
talked about this last month a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we just
part
needed-
of
we
bringing the
needed to know
playgrounds
which-
to the safety
We
standard.
needed which account to move it to.
Motion to approve $4,958 from account 01-550-00-2340 for playground compliance and mulch.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Let me think about that.
No.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye.